Hey, GED students, let's take a look at a formula you might not even realize is on the formula sheet. So first of all, the problem. It says 4 cars sold today at Vinny's Luxury Auto, priced at $65,900, $33,000, $46,000, and $70,300. Find the mean price of the vehicles sold today at Vinny's. All right, mean, median, and mode, also known as the measures of central tendency, are important concepts to learn in their own right. They're on the science, they're on the math, they can even be on the social studies. But the good news is if you forget what they mean or you mix them up, like a lot of students do, there is some information on the formula sheet about mean and median. So let's take a look at that. So this is the formula sheet you'll get when you're taking the GED math test. And a lot of students don't look past the first half that has the geometry formulas, but keep scrolling and you'll see that there's some other interesting formulas here. If you look in the middle of the formula sheet, you'll see a little section called data, and you can see right under data, there's mean and median. But looking over here on the right-hand side, it's interesting because they didn't actually give you a formula. So technically, these aren't formulas, at least not in mathematical symbols, but they do give you directions. They tell you how to find these things. So first of all, let's look at mean. Mean, it says, is equal to the total of the values of the data set. So the total of all the data divided by the number of elements in the data set. Sometimes I'll say it's the total divided by the number of numbers. So let's go with that. So the total of what? The total of the data. Well, what's the data here? We said we were finding the mean price of the vehicles. So the data is the price of the vehicles. So what I want to do first is total my data. So I'm going to write that across the top, 65,900 plus 33,000 plus 46,000 plus 70,300. If I want to just find the total of any size items like we have here, we don't have any repeats, right? So multiplication wouldn't be appropriate. Every one of these cars had a different value. So I'm just going to add to total them. And then notice I stretch a nice long fraction bar there. Remember that I said, and I keep saying that we like fraction bars because they can do 2 things. They'll tell us to divide, but they'll be really, really clear about what we're dividing. And that fraction bar stretching all that way says I'm going to divide that entire total, not just one of the numbers, the entire total. And what am I going to divide by? Well, the number of items in the data set. We said the items in the data set were the price of the cars. So how many cars do we have here? We have 4. Now, the really nice thing is you can type this entire thing into your GED calculator, but your TI is like a mathematician. It's not like your little phone calculator. You can type the entire expression in exactly the way it looks, the way we'd write it as mathematicians, and your calculator will handle simplification with the order of operations. So you don't have to. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Want to make sure that I'm in math print mode in order to do that. So I'm going to just go to mode, make sure that math print is highlighted in black. It is. If yours isn't, just arrow down across to math print, press enter to select it. And now clear to get out of this screen. And now when you're in math print mode, if you press this fraction button, the N over D button, you're going to see this nice horizontal fraction bar where you can type as much as you want on the top. So what is it? 65,900 plus 33,000 plus 46,000 plus 70,300. And that is my numerator, my top of my fraction, that entire group, the entire total. And I'm going to divide that entire total by 4. I press enter and there we go. I got the mean. The mean of this data, also known as the average, is $53,800. All right. Next one says find the median sales price of the 4 vehicles sold at Vinny's. So mixing up mean and median is a big issue for students, but it doesn't have to be an issue for us if we remember that it's on the formula sheet. According to the formula sheet, to find the median, now this one's a little tricky, so let's pay attention. It says median is the middle value in an odd number of ordered values. A middle value in an odd number of ordered values. So let's just imagine that we had some odd number of ordered values right here. So there's an odd number. There's 5 of them, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What they're saying when they say an odd number is that it's really easy to find the middle when you have an odd number here, like, you know, 1 off the front, 1 off the back, 1 off the front, 1 off the back, boom, there it is, there's the median. But if you don't have an odd number, you have an even number, it gets a little trickier. So like, let's take a look. How about this list? 6, 10, 12, 13, 1 off the front, 1 off the back. And you'll see I have 2 in the middle here. And so now it'll explain to us with the rest of these directions on median what to do if we have 2 in the middle. It says, or it's the mean of the 2 middle values in an even number. So here we have an even number. So the median here would be the mean of these 2 numbers. And so it's kind of a circular definition here. So the mean of 2 numbers, right? I would find that by adding the 2 together and dividing by 2 because it's just 2 numbers. And in this case, if I were to do it, 10 plus 12 would give me 22. Dividing that by 2, I'd get 11, which makes sense because what number is directly between 10 and 12? 11 is. Well, those are some simpler numbers, but let's look at our more complex numbers. So again, I'll remind you that these directions on the formula sheet say the median is the middle value, but if you have 2 in the middle, take the mean of them. Okay, so we're finding the median sales price of the 4 vehicles sold at Vinny's. And the formula sheet did say that it was the middle number in an ordered set. So let's order our set. And I mean, valid question, what order? Well, we're going to put it in numerical order. And some students get really hung up on whether I go least to greatest or greatest to least, but it really doesn't matter because whichever one of those you go, the middle is going to be the same. Okay, so don't get hung up in that. But I'm going to go ahead and do least to greatest because it makes the most sense to most people. So the smallest number we have here is 33,000. And I like to be nice and neat crossing things off because the biggest mistake I actually see with these problems is students just simply dropping numbers. So next biggest number is 46,000. This one's a little confusing because of the commas and the numbers. I'll use semicolons. Doesn't matter what you do, you guys. I'm just trying to be visually kind to myself. Next number, 65,900. And finally, the largest number here, 70,300. And here you can see that issue that we have when there's an even number of numbers in the data set. Like the formula sheet said, I can cross 1 off the front and 1 off the back, but I have 2 in the middle. So what do you do when you have 2 in the middle? Because you want to find the exact middle of this data set. What you're going to need to do is find the mean, not of the whole set, guys, be careful, but of just these 2 numbers. So I'm going to add just the 2 middle numbers together, and I'm going to divide by just 2. Another really common error students make is to divide by 4 here, but I'm not looking, again, for the mean of the entire set. To find the median, when I have 2 in the middle, I take the mean of just the middle 2. I know it's a little confusing, but here we go. Again, I'm going to press N over D, 46,000, not 100, plus 65,900. And I'm going to divide that by 2. And I better get something that's like in the middle of those 2 numbers. If not, I did something wrong with my calculator work. Or, you know, put the wrong number on the bottom. There's various errors that students will make. But yeah, you can see that 55,900 is somewhere between 46,000 and 65,000, right? Dead center in the middle, as it turns out. So the median sales price then is not exactly the same as the mean. It's 55,950. So do I want you to learn about mean, median, and mode? Certainly I do. Very helpful, especially on the science test where you don't get this formula sheet. But if you're taking your math test, you forget, you mix it up, you just want to be sure, hit up that formula sheet, okay? It's got some instructions for you.